The knights dragged her through a maze of underground corridors to a room with a heavy door. Even if Adelaide slipped by them now, she'd never be able to find her way back to the cave's entrance. Blood rushed through her veins at a tremendous speed, and the chill seeping into her pores rattled her teeth. The talkative knight jerked the cloak from her shoulders, and the quiet knight rolled up his shirt sleeves while flexing his bicep. Adelaide slid into the darkest corner and sat on the floor, the anticipation of the pain she was about to experience building to an unbearable level. Once his sleeves were adjusted, the knight stalked toward her. Adelaide closed her eyes and stiffened, bracing for impact. Would it be her head? Her stomach? How long would he beat her? Until she was unconscious? Or until he tired of her cries? A boot scraped the floor to her left, and the heat of a bulky body loomed over her. She curled into the smallest ball she could manage. The door creaked, long and loud. Were they leaving? She didn't dare to check. "That's enough." The voice was calm and musical, like it didn't belong in a deep, dark cave next to these brutal knights. Adelaide dared a peek and watched the knight lower his fist and bow low to the wiry stranger who had entered the room. A golden crown balanced on top of the man's head as he creaked the door closed behind him. Crown. A strangled noise escaped her throat. Could this be Lord Druitt? Lightning struck her chest, and her pulse galloped. She pressed against the cave's wall so hard, she thought her wish to be swallowed up by the rock might be granted. Motioned to Adelaide after pushing to his feet. "But we didn't get a chance to—" Druitt held up a hand, silencing the other man mid-sentence. "This slave has a blood-streaked face. I told you to motivate her, not skin her alive." She pressed her hand to the side of her face. Sticky blood from her torn scar met her fingers. The knight bowed again and apologized. With a wave of his hand, Druitt excused the two knights, and they slunk off through the doorway, giving Adelaide dirty looks before they left, as if it was her fault their actions had been misunderstood. She allowed her tension to loosen, being sure not to make eye contact with her enemy. If she hadn't had that old injury reopened on the way here, who knew what kind of pain she'd be in right now? Flashing back to the day after the storm, Adelaide remembered the prince's words. There had been a reason she'd gotten hurt, but he couldn't tell her what it was that day. Could this be the reason? To save her from a beating by Druitt's knights? Was the pain she'd experienced then somehow protecting her now? But if so, where was Justinius? What was he waiting for? Why hadn't he come to rescue her already? "I see. This is all coming as a bit of a shock to you, Mara." Druitt clasped his hands behind his back and paced in the tiny pocket of the cave. "And for that, I apologize. But you must see that I am desperate to have you back. My army needs strong soldiers like you in our ranks. I brought you here to ask that you reconsider your decision to abandon the rebel army. That's all.